Hey everybody, this is Zach from Board with Friends with another How to Play video. Today we're going to be taking a look at Rocky Road a la Mode by Joshua J. Mills and published by Green Couch Games. This is one of their, filler games that they put out on Kickstarter recently. Came out last year or the year before, not sure. I've had it for a while, really like the game, and I just wanted to teach people how to play it. Basically, the objective of the game is you want to achieve victory points, and the way you do that is by becoming the best ice cream truck driver in the biz. You're going to take over the whole neighborhood, put all the other ice cream truck drivers out of business, and it's such a great theme. Like if you think back to your childhood when you'd hear that sound of the music going on, and you knew the ice cream truck driver was coming, you'd go beg your parents for as much money as they'd be willing to part with, just to go get some, overly priced sweet treat out of an ice cream truck. It was awesome. It was the only time when you were a kid where you were allowed to go running out into the street, right? So basically you're all playing to try to get 9 victory points. First person to get to 9 victory points triggers the end game, and then the most victory points wins, because it is possible to go beyond 9. This game is very compact. I mean, this is set up right now as a 3-player game, and it just doesn't take up a lot of table space, as you can see. I mean, it's fitting in my frame here. You could, spread it out a little bit if you want. And the way it plays is pretty darn simple. On your turn, you're using what time you have to perform actions. And different actions take up a different amount of time. The way you measure time in this game is by this board here. Each player has their own ice cream truck, and they do stack on top of each other, like, because physics. And as you move along, that represents a unit of time. So if I were to take something that only does 1 unit, I would move up to here. The player who is furthest back gets to go first. So in a moment like this, like say, blue was all the way back here, I'd have 1 and 2 units of time to work with before, 3 units of time before I would become no longer able to take a turn. Now pink is the furthest player back. And then pink could go here or here, and performing actions that move them forward. But what are the actions, you ask? Zach, you're just moving a bunch of pieces of wood around. That's right. The actions you can take are a restock action. You can draw from up to 5 treat cards at a time, and that will use up units of time. 1 unit per card. So if I take 5, I'm going to move forward 5 spaces on the track. I can attract customers, I can place a treat card from my hand, and I can put it under my truck. So you got these treat cards here. You start with 3, and these are multi-purpose cards. Up here represents how much, a stock of a type of ice cream. Over here, it's the attract cost. So if I were to pull a card and I want to attract one of these customers that are out here, or attract one from my hand, this would cost 1 unit of time to attract this customer. And then I would place it underneath my van, like so. And now you can see the first thing I have to fulfill is this young lady's order. She wants an ice cream cone. So then you could perform an action of serving a customer. I would have to discard a treat card from my hand in order to fulfill this order. So if I were to discard a ice cream cone, now I've fulfilled this order and I move on to the next customer. If I manage to fulfill this gentleman's order, which is a ice cream cone and a popsicle, now that treat card swings around like this, and now permanently I have the popsicle available to me. It's a bit like Splendor, if you want to think of it that way. If you've ever played that game, where you're buying cards basically to buy more cards, and once you fulfill a card and purchase it permanently, you have that available to you. So I don't have to keep discarding cards. Now, if I were to, say, want to fulfill this customer, they want 2 popsicles. I have one permanently right here. All I would need is another popsicle in my hand to discard, and I would fulfill that order, because I don't have to discard 2, I'd only have to discard 1. Pretty neat. What you also want to look at is the rewards. Sometimes it's just permanent stock, which is helpful because then you can just start cycling through and fulfilling orders quicker, but also you need to pay attention to the victory points. This game plays very, very fast, so if you're not looking at what your opponents are doing, they can run away with it and they can earn more victory points. Another thing to note is as you fulfill customers' orders and you have permanent ice cream over here, like say I had a setup like this, where I fulfilled these 3 cards, I finished them, they're mine, I have all 3 types of ice cream, right? Great. Now you look up here and you become a champion of those types of ice cream. Because I have all 3, I gain immediately 3 victory points. So this card here is worth 2, this is worth 3 at the end of the game, so now I'm at 5 already, just by doing all that. It's a really neat concept because the more cards you finish, the more permanent ice cream you have at your disposal, more stock, if you will, and you can you build your own engine and you start looking for cards that are going to do that. As you move along this track here, the track isn't just for tracking time. It also has these little chits on it, the rocket pops. These act as a wild. If you manage to do an action that makes your truck stop on one of these spots, you get to take that wild. And it does exactly what it sounds like. It can be used later. If I need to fulfill an order and I don't have a popsicle or I don't have the ice cream cone that I need, you can take one of these and substitute. And you just put it back on the board when you're done, and it goes back into its the next available pothole, and you can fulfill an order that way. Play just keeps going back and forth. You reshuffle deck if it runs out until somebody has achieved 9 victory points. Once it's achieved, that triggers the end game, and like I said, whoever has the most victory points at the end wins. I can talk. Rocky Road a la mode, I really like this game. It plays fast. It gives me the same feel as Splendor, but it's a way more interesting theme. And this time track makes it a much more interesting game, in my opinion. Because it's not just, okay, I played my turn, I'm going to move on to the next person. No, this time track, the way this works, you can time your actions perfectly to get these rocket pops. You could end up having multiple turns in a row where you could do a bunch of different things because you're so far back on the track because somebody else took an action that used up a lot of time. They needed to restock with 5 cards or something like that. It's really interesting how it plays, but it also plays very, very quickly. So it's one of my favorite games to have, and I almost permanently have it in my game bag. I don't think I've ever taken it out since I got it. Very happy with it. The artwork is awesome. It's really fun. I feel like I'm in the world of Doug because of these characters, the different colors that they are. It's just a great little game. So yeah, absolutely, you should check this out. If you can get a copy, it's from Green Couch Games, Rocky Road a la mode. Thanks for watching.